everybody. It's Georgia Rose. I'm in the soul space. Zenkuda soul space. Everything's reversed when you're on camera. That's why I never know what I'm doing. Don't think I am confused. So how's everybody tonight? It is Monday at 7 o'clock, and that's why I'm in the soul space. I have this big laptop here because my iPad got wet, and I had to send it out through Apple Care. Never did that before, so I'm hoping they take really good care of my beautiful iPad Pro baby, because all my Zenkuda stuff is on the iPad, all my videos, everything. So hopefully it's on a cloud somewhere. Hope I'm not on a cloud anywhere. So I am going to share the show as soon as I find it. Oh, here I am. Okay, so I'm just going to share the show. And if you guys at home would share it, I would love, 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 love you. Where's my share button? Here we are. Oops. Everything's glitchy. Mercury's going into its shadow. So you're going to see Mercury in its shadow, especially it's in an earth sign this time. So you're going to find a lot of things going really glitchy, like my share button. Here we are. Share now. Okay. And now I'm going to share to my page. Hey, Liz is on. Sarah, Ann. How are all you guys doing? I am live now in the soul space. So I have to tell you guys, it's going to be quite a week leading up, actually a couple of weeks leading up to the April 20th eclipse that we have coming in. It's a powerful one. All eclipses are pretty powerful, but this is really going to knock your socks off. So fasten your seatbelts, my lovelies. And I'll give you the lowdown in a minute. Just going to keep sharing the show. So the winner of our free reading for sharing the show was Aaron Bartles. And Aaron, I don't even know if he knows yet, because Aaron lives in Texas and he has been moving. So I think Aaron probably hasn't really been watching the show and stuff. So he's going to get a surprise when he finally does come back in and see us all. And we'll get him online and let him know that everything that we're doing is happening. Okay. So I got to say that I have really been enjoying doing the soul space. We've been doing it for a while now, and just want to get out of my camera lens. We're still like getting used to this new studio. Been doing it a while now, and I have to say that as much as I enjoy it, I really would like a little more interaction with everybody. So if you guys can hop on over to YouTube and like my channel there, if you haven't already, I would love you for that, because I need 1,000 subscribers on YouTube just to be able to do lives there. And I really want to come off the Facebook platform a little bit, because I feel like it's the thing with Facebook is it allows you to make so many comments and people to just post like blatantly. And YouTube's a little bit more, I think, I won't say quality, but I kind of feel like that a little bit, because we don't have the random posting. It's all video. And even though on the lives we can still comment and do that kind of stuff, it's not like you're scrolling through looking at just random kind of, you know what. Anyway, Liz says her life is glitchy. Yeah, that's what a lot of us are going to be feeling for a little while. So I'm going to jump right in and start on my see, now my thing is frozen here. Now here we go, I guess. All right. Okay, so I'm going to start with the eclipse, and Bobby's in the studio with me tonight. I love the new studio because I get to see Bobby, and I never used to see him because he used to be behind me in the other studio, and I'd be like, I wonder what he's doing. And then every once in a while, I would see him like pass by one of the entryways, and I'd be like, he's not in the booth. What is he doing? So now I get to see everything that he does. He never sits still, I got to tell you. A lot of stuff goes into making these shows. So I'm kind of grateful that I have him, because he's very detail oriented. And while we're out creating, he's here all day creating other stuff. Like right now, he's cleaning up sets for our next show. It's really cool. So, okay, back to the eclipse and all the stuff you guys want to know about. So if ever you want to come down and be in the audience when we do a live show, let me know, and I'll make sure I have an event that I do for that. I just freaked Bobby out, but that's okay. So this particular is a solar eclipse. It's in Aries, and it's known as a hybrid eclipse. How cool is this? So what's a hybrid eclipse, you ask? I will tell you. So a hybrid eclipse is when the eclipse is seen as a total eclipse in some parts of the world, meaning that it completely obscures the sun. Because a solar eclipse is when the moon passes between Earth and sun. So if you're on Earth, you don't see the sun. An annular eclipse is when that same thing happens, but you can see the rim of the sun. Isn't total. And so that's why this is called a hybrid eclipse, because in some parts of the world it's total, and in other parts of the world it's not a total eclipse. You can still see the sun. Here in New York, we're actually not going to be able to see it because it's going to be happening in the evening at night, actually around midnight for us on the 20th of April. Um, but only 3% of all eclipses in the 21st century are hybrid eclipses. So that's very interesting. So, what does that mean to me when I think about that from a spiritual perspective, from a meaningful perspective? Well, obviously, the parts of the world that are having the sun completely obscured are going into darkness when they're not supposed to, right? So, that's the spiritual meaning of eclipse. It's light and dark. Eclipses reveal things because they pass in front of one of our luminaries, completely hiding it, and then reveal it again. Very symbolic for revelations in our life, things being revealed. We have to go into the dark sometimes to really see or appreciate or understand our spiritual contracts and our soul's purpose, right? So that's kind of the meaning behind eclipses, generally speaking. And then when we look at eclipses, we look at where they're taking place, what part of the sky, what planets are in transit with it. This eclipse is extremely powerful, and I'm going to go really quickly into why, and then I want to talk a little bit about what I think is wrong with the world today. Nothing too serious. So, hey, look, it's my show. I get to say what my 2 cents, right? So, eclipses are about light and dark. I have like 4 pages of notes, but bear with me. I write big. Um, this is actually the second new moon in Aries. We had one in March, so it's the second one in a row for new moons, which is also very rare. It happens when the calendar, depending on the rotation. So the first thing I want to talk about is this is a solar eclipse, new moon in Aries on the 20th. Now, I know today is only the 10th, but this next 10 days are going to go very, very quickly. Why? Because Aries energy is super fast. Aries energy is completely forward moving. Remember, I talked about the ram. That's the animal, that's the archetype for Aries. So it wants to move forward. It's speedy, it's fast. The next 10 days are going to go like that. And the rest of April is going to go like that. The last half of April is very intense, very fast paced, and really picked up. So that is also because we have 5 planets in Aries, along with this new moon and the eclipse. So we're really overpowered. We're overflowing with Aries energy. The ruler of Aries is Mars, the god of war. So that's why people are a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more cranky, a little bit more impulsive, a lot of Aryan energy flying around, fire energy, impulsivity. So that's the first thing, is that Aries energy is really, really playing into this. Now, because Aries energy is so quick and pushy and forward thinking and impulsive and aggressive and assertive, we're going to see timelines change. This is like major timeline jumps. You might, be driving in the car and all of a sudden you arrive at your destination. You're like, how did I get here? What, I don't even remember passing the normal things that I usually pass. Well, that's going to happen in this energy. You're also going to feel like maybe having an afternoon or a morning where time seems to creep by and then all of a sudden it's evening. It's going to really be strange feeling time in this energy. Why? Because Aries is such a fast-paced energy, and we have other energies that are a little bit slower playing out on the zodiac right now. As a matter of fact, we have very little air in the chart at all, which is why if some of you are feeling a feeling of maybe you're feeling your nasal problems and your allergies are much worse this year, or you're having trouble breathing, or you can't catch your breath, or you just feel smothered or suffocated, or situations that you've been in for a long time feel more constricting. We have no air in the zodiac right now, so we all need something to be refreshing us. That's what this new moon's going to do, because right after this new moon, we've got some planets changing signs, which will bring in more air to the chart. So this is an incredibly dynamic, fast, impulsive energy, and we can feel it building up already. Now, when we have new moons, they obviously are in a cycle of a moon cycle with, 28, 30 days. But eclipses are energy that comes in and you can feel it a couple of months before, which I think we've all been ramping up a little bit. But eclipse energy also lasts for 6 to 18 months afterwards, depending on how powerful it was in your particular birth chart. So this isn't like April 20th, everything's going to change and the world's going to wake up and the world's going to be completely different. It may be that for some people, but this is a gradual change. What this eclipse represents is the ignition point of all of these new beginnings and changes. So really pay attention of what's happening between now and April 20th. What's coming to light? What is the themes that are coming into your life? Wherever Aries is in your chart, whatever house that affects, that's what these themes are going to be about. My Aries in my chart is my fourth house. That's all home and where I live and family. Um, so I know whenever we have a lot of planets in Aries, I'm very focused on family. Maybe I'll see family. My brother's actually coming to visit me from out of state. Yesterday, I spent time with family, which I usually don't do on Easter. So it's been a very family highlighted time in my life. Also, I know I'm going to be expecting changes. I'm in the process now of purchasing another property and things like that. So I know that this is going to affect me that way, and these changes will last for a long time. This is all about new beginnings. And for me, I know, like for instance, the property that I'm buying, a home, even though I'm not going to be living there for quite some time, if ever, it's a second property for me that will be a chance at a new beginning for something. So this is the type of energy. So look where Aries is in your chart. Now, there's 5 planets in Aries right now. The sun and moon, of course, are going to hit there because that's why it's going to be an eclipse. The sun and moon are together. Jupiter is in Aries. Jupiter expands everything. Chiron is in Aries. That's our wounds, where our wounds come from, the wounds we bring into this lifetime in order to heal them. And then the 5th planet that's in Aries right now is a planet called Eris. Eris is the goddess of discord. Eris, a lot of people call her the bad witch you have to invite to the party because if you don't, something bad's going to happen. Because the story of Eris is that Eris was not invited to a party, and so she arranged for the people at the party to eat some poison apples. So that's the mythology behind Eris. You can find that online and read it. But basically, Eris is the goddess of discord. And usually when Eris is highlighted in a chart, it causes people to take revolutionary ideas and enact on them. It makes people fight. It makes people be in discord. So those are the 5 energies that we have in Aries. Plus Aries is ruled by Mars, the god of war. So that's why we have all this aggressive energy. But we can still use that for really good practical purposes and in order to grow our life forward. This is an energy for change. And I know we've been talking about energy for change for a long time. That's because back in October, November, December, leading up till now, I kept saying to you, in March, we start hitting a point where everything changes. Pluto changes sign, Saturn changes sign, a lot of things change. Now, this is the ignition point for all of those changes. So this is the energy of change. Very, very important to stay in love because as the energy comes in and starts changing certain things, wherever it's highlighted in your chart, you're going to see people around you, situations around you may come in to test you because it's Aries energy. And Aries energy is all about the I am. It's all about our self-sufficiency. It's all about who we are as people. It's about soul growth. Aries is an energy, if you have an Aries person in your life or you're an Aries, they're very self-assured. They're very self-sufficient. They're the ram. They come in the room, they know exactly what they want. They're going to get it even if they're a little bit impulsive. They can be aggressive, but they're certainly no shrinking violets. They're certainly not insecure people. They are people who forge the course, stay the course, and to a certain point, they go after it. After they reach a certain pinnacle, they like to delegate. That's why your CEOs of companies are very Aryan energy. But Aries is an energy of assertion. It's also this particular energy is a North Node eclipse as opposed to a South Node. North Node eclipse means it's about our destiny. It's about our soul mission. It's about our fate. So put all that stuff I just said together and what does it mean in a couple of sentences? This eclipse is going to wreck things. This eclipse is going to come in. It's going to be really aggressive. It's going to break things down. It's going to crumble old structures. Why? Because anything that's not of your soul purpose, this eclipse over the next few months is going to bring that to highlight. It's going to bring that to a level of intolerance so that you have to change it. Aries energy is all about how have I changed and grown to understand myself? What are the blockages in your way preventing you from doing that? This eclipse is going to tear them down. That's it in a nutshell. Then we have other things happening right alongside this eclipse. First thing is the North Node that's really affecting this eclipse in July, that goes into Aries. So leading up to that, it sets up a very intense energy for the next 18 months. But it's intense energy that we can use to propel our life forward. It can be really motivating if we stay out of the conflict, out of the discord that Eris is going to cause, and out of the destruction that Pluto squaring this eclipse is going to cause. Pluto is the planet of transformation. Pluto transforms by destroying things on us. It doesn't do that to be mean. It does that because in the end, we're grateful. The things that we can't see, we have a blind spot about. Well, Pluto comes in and changes them so that we're like, wow, that was one of the hardest times of my life, but I'm so grateful for it because it brought me where I am now. So it's really almost like a healing crisis. But the beautiful thing about this is that we emerge with a sense of self and self-sufficiency that we've never had before. That's the whole point of Arian and Aries energy. Out in the collective, this is going to be an angry energy for some people. It's going to be a push because when we're pushed into developing our sense of self, for some people, that's really overwhelming. And when people are overwhelmed, they're scared. So when people are scared, they're angry, right? For some people, they don't want things to crumble, even if they're blocking their path in life. They want everything to stay the same. So they're going to get angry when those things are dismantled. Pluto in Aquarius is all about how do we fit into the community, the world, and really embody what we came here to do. That's the message of Pluto in Aquarius. It doesn't give us that message gently. Unlike Saturn, who's the authority and restricts things, Pluto comes in and breaks the energy. And during this eclipse, Pluto is squaring the eclipse. So this is really about us coming into our own selves, our own sufficiency, our own growth, our soul's purpose. And I know that might sound really lofty for a lot of you, but quite frankly, isn't that what has to happen in the world? And isn't that really what's wrong with the world is we're all so distracted by things that we really shouldn't even be giving attention to anyway. So maybe we have to have some of those things removed so that we really give our soul the attention it deserves. What is your soul asking you to do? We sit here in the soul space every Monday, and I know you guys like cards and predictions, and a lot of you want to get in touch with lost loved ones who are on the other side. And I think that's fabulous that we can do that and that we all have the ability to connect that way. And it's a beautiful community. But when the show's over and, or you read one of my posts online and it inspires you, well, when you walk away from that, what do you do? Do you just think about it or do you, put something into action? Do you make the change? How have you grown and how have you changed to be your true self, your true soul purpose in your life? And it doesn't have to be a lofty or grand gesture. It could simply be maybe you're not taking good care of your body and you finally realize, wow, I really need to change some things up and take better care of my body. Maybe you're giving too much to your loved ones and you need to pull that back and take care of yourself more. Maybe you're not giving enough to a partnership and you need to step up and be the man or be the woman that you really need to be. That's authentic to you. It doesn't mean you're going to go out and change the world drastically. It doesn't mean we're going to, become Oprah Winfrey or Eckhart Tolle or any of those things. It just means that we're supposed to live our purpose, who we are. And so this eclipse is aspecting a lot of things. And really, when you look at it, if you really take some time to go into love and go into quiet instead of getting out there and all that energy, this is really a turning point for humanity. And you might think that's an overstatement. You might think that's melodramatic, but it's really not. Because if we really took a minute to feel this energy, you're going to see where it's supposed to lead you. You're going to start to feel the guidance of the stars and the moon and the planets and the universe and our creator. the same energy that created all of those beautiful planets and the world, and the energy that we feel when we hug somebody, and the energy I feel when I give Reiki, along with the energy of anger and the negativity that we sense in our lives. That was all created for us. So if we took a few minutes every day just to go in that and then internalize it to a point where we're connecting and thinking about our own soul's growth and what am I really feeling? What am I really hearing? What is it that I really want to do out in the world that up until now I thought was just a dream? That up until now I thought it was the thing somebody else was going to do, when all along I've had the ability to do it if I step up, grow up, become self sufficient, stop depending on others, and really step into my soul. And so that's what's going to start happening with this eclipse. I know it sounds like a lot, but this is a new episode in our evolution. Eclipses, especially a North Node eclipse, it's an arc of development that we should all be really excited about. It's almost like, we all have a splinter in our heart, and we all know splinters hurt, right? And sometimes we're really afraid to take the splinter out. But I think we all need to remove that splinter so that it can heal and expand into more love. We're splintered and we need to take the splinters out, not be afraid of the pain. Do it. You can do it. This is going to be intense until mid-July, and then it's going to be intense in a different way. It's an intense year, but this is endings and beginnings. It can be demolition. The old world collapses. The collective is at the breaking point. And when I say old world collapsing, I don't mean like we're going to have, the end of the world. I'm just saying we're in a time where things are changing. And as much as it seems like it's in total chaos, because that's the truth, it's leading us somewhere where that's not going to be the chaos. It's meant to lead us somewhere that is really birthing a new level of humanity, a new way of our species. How do we deal with it? You've got to stay centered. You've got to take your walks out in nature, do your meditations, do your yoga, sit with loved ones who you have a connection with, laugh, be joyful, play with your pets, go play pickleball. Anything that makes you feel joyful and centered is where you need to be now, so that we can all get that point of, wow, this is what I'm meant to do in my life. I need to feel more of this. Also, during this eclipse, we have Mercury conjuncting Uranus. Mercury is our minds, our thoughts. It's also the planet of communication. Uranus is sudden, unexpected things and changes. So expect, the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some shocking news, some shocking revelations. I think until now, the second half of April into May, there's going to be a lot of shocking revelations and volatility in the financial markets, more so than we've seen till now. As I said, Mars rules this eclipse. It's currently in Cancer. That is also an energy, Mars in Cancer, of home, hearth, family. It's an energy that we want to defend our family. We want to stand up for loved ones, especially the divine feminine, mothers, the females in our life. This is a chance, especially because Mars is also having a tense conversation to Chiron, which is in Aries. And that is the planet of the wounds we bring into this lifetime, meant to be healed. When we have Mars in a square to Chiron during this eclipse, and Mars ruling the eclipse, that is an opportunity for us to turn our wounds into spiritual power. That is an opportunity to turn the triggers into the treasure. And it's all about the I am presence, remembering our self-sufficiency, remembering that connection with oneness with the creator. And in that space, nothing is impossible. That's the Aries energy, Chiron square Mars, Mars ruling the eclipse. That's all turning our wounds into spiritual power, into spiritual wisdom, into a healing. Remember that sufficiency, going into a place where we can lead ourselves through the wounds, through the hurt, through the pain, through the things that are being taken away or dissolving for us. Whatever emotion they bring, there's power in that emotion to bring you to the healing and into more connection and spiritual power with your creator. Just stay centered. All right. And then lastly, we've got Jupiter in that exact conjunction with Eris, that goddess of discord. So this is a fight against injustice. You're going to see people rise up against injustice in order to find more balance. I think you're really going to see that a lot. So identify where what house Aries is in your chart. This is where everything is going to come through, your energy and your themes. So, as I said before, this is energized in order for us to really obtain what we want if you use the energy that way. You can listen to this and you can think it's scary or intense, which it can be, right? It's scary to change. It's scary to move into uncharted waters. It's scary for humanity to evolve. But this is obtaining what you want based on your own soul growth. So if you never grow your soul, how do you obtain that? How do you obtain what you really want? It's about there's growth that has to happen in order for you to step into your divine purpose or your purpose in this lifetime. What makes you you individually? Um, Truly knowing yourself. This eclipse will break those blockages, whatever is blocking you from truly knowing yourself, whether that's a relationship, you're stuck in a job, you have limiting belief systems, you're going to really feel that blockage start to get removed in this energy. Um, this is having the bravery and the confidence for all of us to show up. If any of you need a private reading or session with me in order to really pinpoint that and get some inspiration as to how you can be brave and have the valor to show up, I absolutely can schedule that. This is about honoring your growth, powerful beginning for your ongoing development. This is a precipice of, am I going to take the leap of faith that I can really do this, that I can do this with the help of God, etc. What do I need to do in order to make this thing I want to do real? What do I need to do? Do I need to change my schedule? Do I need to end a relationship? Do I need to physically move? Do I need to change something about my personality that I know is not a good thing? Do I need to, change physically? What do I need to do in order to make what I really want to obtain happen? So Pluto going into Aquarius last month ignited all of this. That's why I kept talking about March. It ignited all of this, and now it's all starting to come. It's like the dominoes are starting to fall. Things are going to be revealed. You're going to probably, I think the process of this eclipse over the next few months is going to be something's revealed. You come to a complete stop. Like, wow, I got to take time out. I got to really look at this. And then you find your truth. And I really think energetically, that's how I'm seeing it. There's no repeats on this. This is like, either you're going to do it or you're not going to do it. There's no like second chances. This is it. And the other thing I wanted to say, I had written down a note for myself. The other thing I wanted to say was tomorrow Venus goes into Gemini. That's when we get the air. Remember I said there's no air in the world? That starts the air now because Gemini is an air sign. So we're going to feel refreshed when we wake up tomorrow morning. Venus and Gemini can be tough. It's duality. So, typically a lot of times we'll see a chart with someone who has Venus and Gemini, and it's very hard for them to remain loyal or faithful. However, people who are evolved and have Venus and Gemini are very passionate. They're very curious. They're very mercurial as far as they want to talk. They fall in love by talking. It's a sign of communication. Although Venus in Gemini can also be rivalry, sibling rivalry, regular rivalry at work, competition, jealousy. That's very Venus and Gemini stuff. So that changing, right before this eclipse comes in, it adds a little fire to the fire, although it's air. So this can be scary, but just stay in love. And the other reason I promised to tell you guys, remember I said before, I'm going to tell you what I think is wrong with the world. Well, what I think is wrong with the world is everybody's trying to prove something. I mean, that's it in a nutshell. It's like everybody's so aggressive. Like, what makes people aggressive? They're trying to prove something. Like, what are you trying to prove? What are you trying to prove in your life? And I'm here to tell you tonight, 7:30, Monday, April 10th, you have nothing to prove. You're fine. Whatever you need to prove to yourself is your business, and you don't need to spread it out there. So, what are you trying to prove? We're all trying to prove something. It's from a wound that we had. Chiron in Aries with this eclipse and with this energy moving in is going to reveal it. It's going to come to you, and it's what you have to work on. But when I look at the media, people in the news, anybody who put a microphone in front of their face, they're all trying to prove something, prove their point, prove their way is right, prove they're better, prove they're faster, prove they're stronger, prove you're a butthead. Whatever it is, they have something they're coming on to prove. They're going to prove they get more likes than you. They're going to prove they're smarter than you. They're going to prove they're prettier. They're going to prove they're thinner. They're going to prove they know more. Everybody's trying to prove something. And I ask you, what does that accomplish? Have you ever been in a situation where you had something you just had to prove, you had to win, you had to get this thing, and then you got it, and it really didn't make any difference? Yeah, because you have nothing to prove. So going after all those things that you're trying to prove, it's empty, it's frustrating, it's probably making you cranky. And do you know what it really means? When you feel like you have something to prove, it's not about the other people in the room. Not at all. We all know logically there's going to be somebody prettier, somebody thinner, somebody smarter, somebody younger, somebody better, somebody, you know, been there before you, somebody faster, somebody with a better car, somebody with, can meditate deeper, whatever it is, right? What that's really about is you don't approve of yourself. You don't approve of yourself and you think you got to you prove yourself to other people. So what I would say, especially with this eclipse season, I would spend my time, all that time you try to prove something to other people, I would spend it really getting to like yourself. Get into the truth of who you are. Spend time with yourself. Become self-sufficient. Stop depending on the only person who you think approves of you. Approve of yourself. Take that power away from the people and give it back to yourself. And you're going to live such a happier life with so much more freedom. And it's a work in progress for all of us. I mean, we all get that feeling, right? How many of you went home over the weekend for Passover or Easter and were with family and immediately you found yourself kind of like pumping yourself up or propping yourself up or having to say something that you wouldn't normally have to say or to be heard because you had something to prove. We all do it. We all live like that. And I've come to the conclusion, maybe it's taken me half a lifetime, but I've come to the conclusion that I'm not wasting energy on that anymore. I know who I am. I think I'm okay. I'm great at some things. I'm not so good at others. I could probably improve a lot of things in my life. I work hard at that. But I don't really feel like I have anything to prove anymore. I am who I am. I'm in the space I want to be. I've created a beautiful life. I have aspirations to create more beauty and more love in my life, and that's what I'm going to focus on. So stay centered and get yourselves in a place where you approve of yourself and you have nothing to prove to anybody else. All right. And if you're surrounded by people who demand you to prove yourself, they're probably not the people you should be surrounding yourself with. So maybe the eclipse will take care of that. So I am going to go into my comments now. And I hope somebody thought that was funny. Hi, Ann. How are you? Hi, Sarah. Hi, Liz. Okay, I feel like everybody's having a little bit of a tough time this week. It's just the energy. And remember, everything's temporary. If you are in a spot where something has just, kind of been released or something for your betterment is a little tough right now, even though you can see the rainbow at the end, remember it's all temporary. We all go through things. We all have our tough days, our tough months, our tough years, but they never last forever and they're only temporary. And we're all here to support you guys. Everybody's here to support everybody. So I'm going to actually send up some hearts to everybody right now so that you all can get a little love from me. So I can do that for you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Hi, Janine. Hi, Marianne. Joanna Maya's on. Will my problem resolve about the blood relatives? Well, I will say that it depends on what chart, what house of your chart your Aries is. But I will say that this type of energy, especially while the moon is in, Mars was in Cancer, that's all about family. So I would wait. I think Mars comes out of Cancer in another, I think 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I got to look on the calendar. But that's probably when family issues will resolve more because when Mars is in Cancer, it's all about family upheaval. Natalie's on and she says her moon is in Aries. For Aries moon, this is going to be an emotional eclipse, but it also may be of deep healing for you too, Natalie. What can happen, depending on the house it's in, but what can happen in an eclipse like this if it's affecting your moon sign is, especially with Chiron there and some of these other planets, it's squaring Pluto, you may have a big release where something is maybe removed or dissolved, but that something may be a wound that you've been working on for a long time. And you may emerge from this eclipse with a different emotional perspective. Like maybe you in the past have been having like thinking about relationships in a certain way and always acted a certain way in relationship and desired a certain relationship because it's the moon. But in this energy, you may emerge from this with a completely different perspective of what that really means to you in truth and what your soul really desires. And even though that can be a little challenging, it's going to bring you to a place of the truth in aspect of the relationship and the type of relationships that are really right for you. It's almost like we push against something that isn't a fit, right? Like we keep making the same mistakes and it's not a fit. And then all of a sudden something will happen in our life to completely flip everything over. And all of a sudden we see it. We realize, wait, you know what? I was going after the wrong type or the wrong thing. Or I thought I wanted that, but that really didn't suit my soul progress. So I think that's how you're going to emerge from this with some really new perspective in regards to your emotions and how you are emotional in a relationship as far as the way you relate to others and they relate to you. Aries in the 12th house, Sarah, that's all about soul work, deep growth with the soul. It's also about dreams, wishes. The 12th house is the last house of the zodiac, and it's the house that we have culminated to do all of our growth work in. It's like all the other houses that we've learned and grown from. In the 12th house, it all comes into an embodiment of our spirituality and our soul. So that can actually be a nice energy for you. Not easy, but a little bit, in the end, it's going to bring you a much deeper union with your truth and your own person and your soul. A lot of self-sufficiency there as well. It can also be finally balancing family relationships and things like that. Hey, Chris, thank you so much. I owe Chris a reading, actually. We did one half. And then, yeah, Natalie says she relates to that. Yeah, and I want to just say to Natalie and anyone out there, because I get it. I was in times like that myself. Whenever we're really in those like times when just everything's changing and it's hitting us, realize it's a crisis, but it's a healing crisis. It's all happening to bring you somewhere. And try not to ask, why is this happening? Ask, where am I going with this? That's really what you want to focus on. Where is this leading me? What is my soul trying to get me to understand? Meditation, spending time, even though you may be lonely, spending time alone really helps when you in that type of um, part of your life, guys. And the other thing I'm going to say, and it's so hard because when we're in these healing crises, we oftentimes, you can't see that expression. You can't see the forest for the trees. But people used to tell me all the time, stop resisting it. Stop trying to keep what is old now. Stop trying to hold on to things that no longer make sense. Go with the flow, move forward. And so that's really what this energy wants us to do. It wants us to let go. It wants us to release and trust and move forward. Um, Affirmations are really good in this energy. Surround yourself with positive people. Aries moon will have a little bit of a less challenging time, believe it or not, on Natalie, because Aries moon wants to move forward. You're always looking for the next thing. That's kind of how that works. Um, hey, Laura, how are you? Amanda, Joanne, Lizzie, welcome, Lizzie. Venus and Gemini. That's good to hear. Laugh out loud. I need to wake up feeling refreshed for a change. Yeah, the Venus and Gemini energy is coming in tonight. When we wake up in the morning or throughout the day tomorrow, we'll feel a little more refreshed. It's felt a little heavy lately. We've got a lot of fire and earth in the chart right now. And earth and fire, they're okay together, but they kind of are a little impactful because don't forget, when we want to put out a fire, we throw earth on it, right? When you want to scorch down something, you set fire to it. So that's the negative of those properties. The good part of those properties is earth is stabilizing. It makes us feel really stable. For those of you who do yoga, like I do, when you lay on the mat, one of the things I always think about is how the universe is just supporting me while I lay on that ground. And fire is also nurturing. It keeps us warm. And it also is a safety thing for us, right? When our homes are heated and warm, our homes are warm, we feel more secure and safe. So it can go either way, but we've had a lot of fire and energy. And so now we get a little air in, and we'll start to get more and more air in as that goes. Joanne says, prove to yourself. Yeah, live in your own skin, right? Liz says, I'm funny. I'm hysterical. Liz, I'm hysterical in real life. One of the things I pride myself on is my sense of humor. I have been in like the worst nightmare times of life, but I still find humor because I think that's always been my go-to. Like if I didn't have humor, I probably would not still be here today. All right. Just funny stuff. I have so many funny stories. Someday I'll write the comedy book, but I got to first get out the other books. Um, hey, Cheryl. Good. I'm glad you made it. So Liz is saying you are blessed. Janine says Aries is in Chiron in my chart. No, Chiron is in Aries in everyone's chart right now. So if you have your chart, Janine, you can look on the zodiac wheel, and there should be little numbers inside the wheel that say house 1, 2, 3, 4. If you know which house it is, I'll look at your chart after the show if you want me to. But yeah, so there's got to be a house. Aries in the 11th house. Okay, so Aries in the 11th, Janine, is all about groups of people and community. And 11th house is also your hopes and dreams and wishes. So this is actually very prophetic because you're probably going to see a lot of changes in the people you hang out with, the groups you associate with. It could also be community groups. Like it doesn't have to just be social. It could be, joining a group or joining a course of study or finding people that you want to do something and you have something in common with. Like it's really about new friends. It's about also seeing who is a sincere friend and who isn't. You'll get that a lot in this. And Chiron in the 11th is also about, about fitting in. It's about being accepted, feeling like you don't always fit in with groups of people, feeling like you're the oddball, you're always left out. Um, a lot of people have that energy with Chiron and Aries, and I have to say that this eclipse will bring that up for a lot of people. And again, like I just said, you have nothing to prove. And the more we go into our own place and we get more comfortable in our own skin and approve of ourselves, that's when we start to see our life change and we get accepted in a lot of those areas where we have not been before because we've had these self-fulfilling prophecies and things like that. So that's really when we see that happen. Um, how does Gemini get along with Gemini? Well, what I can say is that's going to be some really stimulating conversations. Geminis are awesome conversationalists, that air, that communication. Geminis don't have a long attention span. They usually know a little bit about everything, a lot. I love to sit next to Geminis if I go out socially or I'm at a cocktail party because you'll have a really great time because they'll really keep you entertained. But like I say, Geminis don't have that stick-to-itiveness. They're not like for the long haul in a subject. Geminis need a lot of activity. They need to constantly be entertained. So that's, the up and down. So two Geminis together, put it together, you got a lot of air. They need grounding. If I was in a relationship or in a partnership or had someone in the family who's a Gemini, I would make sure I walked in the woods with them, really do more earthly type things to be grounded, garden. You don't want to do things that are like really hyperactive because Gemini is also in their head all the time, air sign. I'm a Libra sun, so I'm in my head a lot too. Um, so you want to do things that are going to pull the energy down into the heart space, pull the energy down into the ground. Depending on what else is in the chart, especially if it's a romantic relationship, you have to do things in order to ground before you get to the romance because Aries or Gemini is going to be in the head and you want to bring the energy down into the heart. Yoga is good. Meditations are good. Just stamping your feet on the ground, even be where your feet are. Yeah, that's the Gemini energy. But Geminis are so interesting. I used to love to date Geminis just to date them, not have a relationship with them. If that doesn't sound funny, but it's true because they're great. They're very entertaining. They're not super serious, but they're really entertaining. Um, so I don't really have time to pull too many cards tonight. So I think what we'll do is I'm just going to pull a few cards for the collective and we'll pull a few cards. Also, I want to give a shout out to my friend Yvonne. It is her birthday this week and I love her so much. She has been such a beautiful light in my life. I would not know what to do without her. And she watches, she's not on social media. She watches the show online. And also I wanted to shout out to her and tell her that I love her and that we have to celebrate her birthday. We got the eclipses coming in for her birthday, new moons, and all kinds of things. Oh, and the other big thing that's happening tomorrow, guys, Jupiter and the sun are together. This actually starts a whole new 12-year cycle for Jupiter and Aries. So think about where you were 12 years ago, what you've accomplished and grown since then, because that is the theme for this week and the next few months. Jupiter going to a whole new 12-year cycle. Jupiter in Aries. They're all sending you out happy birthday wishes in the comments, Yvonne. So see that? You got some love tonight. All right. Um, so true. Cheryl says pickleball's out for the Gemini. Um, I would maybe go play pickleball to have some fun and then maybe take a walk in the park afterwards or a walk in the woods. Again, depending on what else is in the chart. The thing with air signs is you don't always want to walk by the water because water and air, you're going to drown. But yeah, I would definitely do some grounding like that. You might want to go do yoga together even, but they might, that also might be hard because you might not be able to sit that long. You're Gemini. So I'm going to pull some cards for the collective. So Sun and Jupiter together, that happens tomorrow. And that is a beautiful, beautiful energy for all of us. If you have anything you're trying to manifest, Sun conjunct Jupiter is like the day to get it to blast off a little bit. See, I got the Sun card here. We're talking about the Sun going into Jupiter. And look what I pull, the Sun card. There's new beginnings. The Sun coming there. It is just, that's the card in the deck for good health, new beginnings. We've got the 3. Right here, 3 of Pentacles, which is abundance. This is spirituality. This is, the man giving the sermon in the church. And then we've got the Knight of Wands upside down. That's an indication that maybe some of this fire energy is going to start to level off a little bit, which it will, because we have planets now shifting. This particular eclipse actually happens at 29 degrees of Aries, which is the last degree of the sign. It's called the anaretic degree. So that's why you're seeing the Knight of Wands upside down reversed. That fire energy, which is what the Knight of Wands represents, is moving. After the eclipse on the 20th, it goes into the earth sign of Taurus, the moon. So and it starts to co-join other signs, which brings us more energy, but I'll talk to you about that when we get further along. And then we've got this beautiful union. This is also soulmate new beginnings. The Star card. Wow, this is a great reading for the collective, for everybody in the world. And that's going to be the reading for me. Okay, so this is the story, guys. Sun, beautiful, health, new beginnings coming. Stay in your spirituality. You may even want to read, sutras or the Bible or, some kind of really beautiful texts that are spiritual for you, because you want to learn, you want to grow your spirituality, you want to really firm up that beautiful spiritual foundation. The Knight of Wands in reverse really symbolizes for me the fire energy lessening as that moon goes into Taurus and other planets start to move. We've got, like I said, Venus going into Gemini. We start to move out of the fire a little bit, because the Knight of Wands is that fire. It's that like 911 card, emergency, red alert. And then this card here is actually the most beautiful card in the deck. The 2 of Cups is the soulmate card. It means union, new beginnings. You've got this beautiful Archangel Gabriel above giving you clear messages, and it's up against the Star card. The Star card in the deck is the card where we have everything. We've got the earthly pursuits and the spiritual pursuits, and we are combining them to give us abundance in our life. This is the flow of life, universal love, the rebirth. The Strength card, Leo. On top of the lion's head is the Infinity card. And I think this is coming through as a message for us that we don't want to go into the aggression. How does a lion tamer tame the lion? Through compassion, through trust. He doesn't beat the lion into submission. He doesn't have anything to prove. He knows the lion is going to trust him eventually, as long as he keeps giving it love. That's the message of Leo. And this is the Leo card. The message of Leo is always that the power of love far outweighs the love of power. That's a very strategic card for the energy that we talked about tonight we have coming in. And then in reverse, we have the 3 of Swords, which is the literal heartbreak card, the death card for some. And this is in reverse, meaning the end of time. It's coming to the end of this. It's reversed. It's waning. It's going to start to go into the past. If we follow the message of this card and stay into our spirituality, go into the abundance of life, and remember, our strength comes from love, not the other way around, right? Our love of strength. We don't need to be right. We need to just be in love. Then the heartbreak ends. So that's my show for this evening. Thank you all for tuning in. You can find me on Facebook on Georgia Rose Zenkuda, and you can also find me on Instagram at Zenkuda Official, and online every Monday night at 7 o'clock on Zenkuda. If you'd like a private reading, just give me a call anytime on Facebook, Instagram, or my website, zenkuda.com. Thank you all. Have a beautiful week. In meditation, I will pray for everything and all these changes to be gentle for you. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you guys again Monday night at 7. Bye-bye.